Imagine it's 3 in the morning. You're lying in bed, the blue light of your phone burning into your retinas because you can't sleep. You're thinking about the rent. You're thinking about that weird sound your car started making yesterday. You're thinking about how much life costs. And then, a notification, an email from an escrow account, or maybe a lawyer, or maybe you just checked that lottery app you've been feeding $5 a week for years. In that single second, the person who worried about the price of eggs, is dead. You have just inherited the GDP of a small country. You are now richer than most people will be in 10,000 lifetimes combined. But here's the thing they don't tell you in the movies. This isn't a dream come true. This is a biological and psychological car crash. What happens to your brain when you go from can't afford Netflix to can buy the Netflix headquarters in a heartbeat? Today, we're going to look at the terrifying reality of what happens if you became rich. Right now, first, how did it happen? Because the how determines the who. Maybe you were the 1 in 300 million miracle who hit the Powerball. Or maybe you were the lucky idiot who found a hard drive in a landfill containing 50,000 Bitcoin from 2010. Or perhaps, in a twist of dark fate, you're the sole heir to a long-lost great-uncle's oil empire. Whatever the reason, the money is liquid. It's yours, sitting there waiting for you to tell it what to do. Statistics show that 70% of people who come into a sudden windfall lose it all within 7 years. But we're not talking about a few million. We're talking about billions. It is almost impossible to spend $1 billion on stuff. If you spent $50,000 every single day, it would take you 54 years to spend just $1 billion. But that doesn't mean you won't try. The first 48 hours are pure, unadulterated dopamine. The good side is exactly what you think it is. The weight of the world, gone. You wake up and realize you never have to set an alarm again. You call your boss not to quit, but to buy the company just so you can fire the guy who denied your vacation request. You pay off your parents' mortgage. You buy your best friend a house. You donate $10 million to a children's hospital just because you liked the way the receptionist smiled at you. This is the philanthropist phase. You feel like a god. You feel like the money hasn't changed you. It's just revealed how great you actually are. But then, the hedonic treadmill starts to speed up. Psychologists call it sudden wealth syndrome. Your brain isn't evolved for this. For 200,000 years, humans survived on scarcity. We are wired to hunt, gather, and protect. When you remove need entirely, your internal compass spins out of control. Your brain's reward system becomes desensitized. A normal person gets a rush from a good meal or a promotion. For you, you need a private island and a fleet of Bugattis just to feel a baseline level of okay. If you think your family loves you, wait until they find out you have $2 billion. Suddenly, your third cousin twice removed has a revolutionary business idea. Your high school friend needs a small loan for a surgery that doesn't exist. People don't look at you anymore. They look at the decimal points behind you. You realize that every single person who talks to you has a motive. You start to become paranoid. You hire security not because you're famous, but because you're a walking vault. You move into a gated community which is really just a high-end prison. You've successfully isolated yourself from the world you used to belong to. This is where it gets dangerous. When you have everything, you feel invincible. And when you feel invincible, you want to see how far you can push the limits. First, there's the gambling. Start small. You aren't playing for the money, you have too much of that. You're playing for the feeling of losing. Because losing is the only thing that feels real anymore. You go to Vegas, you're in the high roller suite, and you're dropping $5 million on a single hand of baccarat. You're not trying to win, you're trying to feel something. Then there's the lifestyle. You find yourself surrounded by the most beautiful people on the planet. But you quickly learn a bitter truth. These people aren't here for your personality. You're surrounded by yes men and yes women. If you want to fly a private jet to Ibiza at 4 a.m. to party with supermodels, they'll be there. But the moment the account dries up, they vanish like smoke. And finally, the substances. When you have billions, you don't buy drugs from a street corner. You have concierge doctors. You have high-grade, pharmaceutical-level escapism. Why deal with the stress of your crumbling relationships when you can just turn your brain off with a pill? This is how the success story becomes a cautionary tale. You're living the dream, but you're having a nightmare. Here is the weirdest part. You'd think a billionaire would be the most generous person alive. But something strange happens to the human psyche when it enters the 0.001%. You become protective. You start to hate the people who ask for help. You think, I have all this money, and everyone just wants a piece of me. You stop caring about the value of money. $10,000 feels like a penny to you, but at the same time, you refuse to give it away. You become a hoarder. You look at your billions like a score in a video game. If the number goes down, you feel like you're losing. You see a homeless person on the street and you think, I could change his life with the change in my pocket. And then you keep walking, not because you're evil, but because you've become disconnected from human suffering. You've moved to a different planet. This isn't just a what if. This has happened. Take Jack Whitaker. He won $315 million in 2002. He was a successful businessman before the win. Afterward, he was robbed constantly. His granddaughter died of a drug overdose funded by the money he gave her. And he ended up saying, I wish I had torn that ticket up. Or Abraham Shakespeare, who won $17 million, was hounded by everyone he knew, and was eventually murdered by a woman who befriended him just to steal his remaining fortune. When you become rich right now, you don't just get a bank account. You get a target on your back. So let's play it out. It's 5 years later. You're in your mansion. It's quiet. Too quiet. Your original friends are gone. You insulted them or they envied you until the bridge burned. Your family only calls when they need a wire transfer. You've done the drugs. You've seen the world. You've bought every toy imaginable. The tension isn't about losing the money. The tension is about the fact that you have everything, and it's not enough. You realize that the struggle of your old life, the saving up for a vacation, the pride of buying a first car, that was actually the meaning of your life. Without the struggle, there is no victory. There is only a long, expensive wait for the end. So what if you became rich right now? If you aren't ready for it, if you don't have a soul that is stronger than your bank account, it will destroy you. It will strip away your empathy, ruin your relationships, and leave you in a gold-plated cage. Money is a tool, but if you don't know how to use a hammer, you're going to end up hitting yourself in the thumb. Hard. Maybe the real dream isn't becoming a billionaire overnight. Maybe the dream is building something that makes you worth those billions. But hey, if you still want the money, I get it. Just remember, when you win the lottery, the first thing you should buy isn't a Ferrari. It's a very, very good lawyer and a new phone number. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more deep dives into the psychology of the ultra-wealthy, hit that subscribe button. And let me know in the comments, if you won $2 billion today, what's the first thing you're buying?